Hey kids, for those of you who are those last minute Mother's Day people like I am, know that mom definitely will enjoy having a little bit of homemade art. So here's a cool kind of, it can be front of a Mother's Day card or it can be its own standalone art. Well, all you gotta do is start with a basic heart. It doesn't even need to be totally symmetrical. Mine certainly is not. Once you've created your heart, you're going to put a dot directly below the tip of the heart. Make sure that it is facing down, make it easier on you. And connect that dot with the bottom of the heart. And then get yourself a ruler or a straight edge, pull in the straight edge to the dot, and then the very outer edge of one side of the heart and the other, and connect those lines. You guys can see exactly what I did on the computer here. You'll do the same thing on paper with a ruler and a pencil. So once you've done that, all you're really going to have to do is down on either side of that kind of wedge that you've now created, you are going to echo the line at the bottom of the heart right there. And so if it has even a little bit of a curve to it, definitely try to preserve that little bit of a curve. I encourage you to make those lines as comfortably close together as you can make them. So if you're like, I don't know if I can make a consistent parallel line at a quarter of an inch, that's too tight, go to half an inch. If it's something where you know you can, just make them nice and close together. The more lines there are there, the more that ribbing, the better this is going to look. It creates more of that three-dimensionality. Now, if you haven't already figured it out, what this ends up looking like is something we talked about with the older kids, which is one point perspective. That is, if you have a singular vanishing point, imagine that to be out on the horizon far away from you, and you pulled something out from that point. Especially in this case, the heart has become this almost like long heart pillar going all the way back in space and disappearing far away from us. That's what you get. So once you've done that, once you have that going on, we're going to write Happy Mother's Day right on the heart itself. Now, right here, you can see I staggered mine in kind of like a stair step justification, but you can do yours as symmetrically as you like or as asymmetrically as you like. And that's totally fine. The one thing I would say is that once you write it normally, go back in and add some flourishes. So what I did right here is I added kind of like little feet, little curved lines, just tiny ones, to the very edges of every one of the letters. And once I had done that, I created on some select areas a secondary parallel line to some of those letters. And that gives it what I like to refer to as the Tom Hardy lettering. Now, what it really is kind of like a faux Old English lettering, but it's become really popular with people who do like graphic design like Tom Hardy. If you don't know who Tom Hardy is in terms of a graphic designer, understand that every time you've seen those like Old English lettering t-shirts with like skulls and flowers and stuff on it, that's usually his design. So artists really do have a heavy hand in everything you see. It's more of an adult, style. I don't want to say even adult style, but usually it's made for adult clothing. Although I wouldn't necessarily say it's a really like, elegant style. It's more of a casual thing. Anyways, I digress. We're trying to get that same look with our lettering, and all we got to do is create some parallel lines that kind of link into our letters. You can see exactly how I'm doing that through the rest of the letters here. I'm up to the R, heading my way to the S, and then I'm going to get through day right there. And then after I've done that, it's time to add a little bit of color. Now, I know that you don't want to say that one color belongs to one gender over another, but my mother likes relatively, girly things, so I'm gonna throw pinks in here and purples and blues and colors that I think are a little bit feminine. And so you can see I'm using my computer, so again, I'm cheating. You guys have to use markers or colored pencils or crayons or whatever you can get your hands on. But trust me, it looks better, honestly, when it's not done with a computer. Just because your hand being in it really does show the time you put in and the effort you put in. And I strongly encourage you, milk that. Tell them, it took me hours and hours. So once I've done that, I'm going down the ribbing here, and I'm going to color every other stripe. You can do this any pattern you want, but doing every other stripe with the same color sets, it creates a pattern, and that pattern is pleasing. If you want to just go crazy and make it a rainbow, go for it. That's fine too. I personally like sticking with kind of a general color temperature or like color theme. So here I'm staying in kind of the purple and pink, a little bit reddish and blue realm. So kind of on the the middle of the warm and cool spectrum, kind of going between them, but I would definitely say shading towards cool colors. And so I'm doing here on the left side a purple every other. On the stripes, you'll see I finished off. I keep accidentally filling the actual lines, the contour lines that I've created. And then I can't remember what I chose to finish that, like a pinkish, I believe, like a pinkish orange. So once you've completely finished that, we're basically done. Now, I am going to add one more element to this, which is that I wanted to have some other thing to balance this out because it feels like all the art is up top and kind of dwindles down low. So again, I'm going to pull from my amazing stealing from the Tom Hardy design style, and I'm going to write "Love You, Mom" on either side, left to right of the heart. And I'm actually going to space, or justify, I should say, the letters vertically. That means that I'm going to have them reading from top to bottom, kind of like a Chinese character. So anyways, I'm just going to write it out very carefully so all of the letters are about the same size. So here's the Love on the left side here. And then to make it symmetrical, to be you, mom, YOUMOM, it doesn't work, right? Oh, but wait. We all know that we can get the same sound phonetically by just putting the letter there. So let's put the letter U instead of YOU, and then MOM, and all of a sudden we have 4 letters on each side, and that symmetry that we find so very pleasing. And this also helps us bring some of the we call the weight of the art down, and that will make it feel just more symmetrical and nicer. Again, I'm doing that Tom Hardy lettering, but this time I'm doing it even more simply. I'm going to bring a vertical line down on the letters on the left side only for each one of the letters. Now that's a little weird because when you get to the O, how do you put a vertical line down the O? Now I did that right there and you can see, but you just basically try to keep it about consistent with the rest of the vertical lines and just bring it out. It's really not that complicated. So once I have done that on all of these, I personally think that if you leave them open with nothing else, it still doesn't feel like enough. So very quickly, just taking a color, like in this case I used blue, to fill those little bits will just really make it feel complete. So I'm going to do that right now, and you can just see while I'm finishing this up. So once you're done with this is really it, guys. This is the art. So you can hand her this. You could make this the outside of a card that has more of a personal message on the inside, which I do encourage you. Personal messages are a very big thing. Go sappy. Really, really play it up. You're the best mother in the world. Remember that time. Bring the memories into it and throw that in there, and mom will love that personal touch. If for some reason you're unable to give a Mother's Day card to your mom right here, grandma, stepmom, aunt, everybody loves it. Have an awesome Mother's Day. I will see you guys later.